I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity in the White Paper Library. And hopefully, we're all connecting the dots. Hopefully, we're all integrating everything like WIFM with CNC and D&D and CC and self vaporization. Like we have to retain all of this stuff. Like it's not enough to read it and say, "Oh, that was nice." We've got to take it and use it. And then we go down into the income machine and we have those. And then we go into, phase three, life, passions, leverage, and a whole lot more. And then, whoa, there's a lot there. And then we go down into, phase four. My biggest challenge is me. I'm the solution. And then, went through the secret about time and the 30-day challenge. And so when we go through all of that, what do we hit next? We hit, I'm overwhelmed. And so I have a system that when I get overwhelmed that I use. And so it's almost like there's good overwhelm and there's bad overwhelm, or there's just overwhelm and it's either good based on how we respond to it, or it's bad based on how we respond to it. And so, so we have, okay, I'm overwhelmed. It is what it is. A lot of times people go ahead and, a lot of times people make situations worse. Like I think of delivery. Like I was in the, delivery room 7 times. It's overwhelming. It's 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 overwhelming. And so in delivery, when we went through Lamaze classes, and so it's like the delivery is going to be painful. It just is. It just it just is. But we can make it worse and we can make it dangerous to the mom or the baby based on how we respond. The same thing is true in life. And so how do we keep calm when things require calm? Like how do we do that? It's discipline. It's like, being a Navy SEAL when you're in the middle of a battle, a war, and you're getting shot at. That's called the foxhole principle. And they've done research on it in warfare, and they go ahead and say that the person in the foxhole may know that the foxhole is the most dangerous place to be, but they're going to stay there. So you have to train that out of them. I mean, everybody is running out of a building, except the firemen are running into the building. You know why? Because they're trained to do something opposite. So in life, people say be true to yourself. What does that mean even? Be who you are, be who you are. What does that mean? I don't like that. I like become who you're created to be. Like that's very different. Like when we become satisfied with who we are, like I am who I am. And it's like, really? Like a rock could say that. And so, Think and Grow Rich is a great book. It's not about money, not it's about richness in all areas of life. Then it talks about the five-time management freedom fighters. Then it talks about the boss system. And then talks about the three elements to frustration. And so people get frustrated and they work less, care less, and they lower their expectation. That feels good. So I'm working on with my 10 grandkids to help them to understand your feelings are not true. They're not necessarily false. There's some element of them that is probably true, but just because you feel it doesn't mean it's true. I don't feel you love me, Grandpa, because you won't give me more sugar. Okay, you can feel that if you want to. That's fine. But just because, so a lot of our feelings are they're the feelings are connected into frustration. Our feelings are very much connected into overwhelm. So we feel overwhelmed and we don't see the opportunity. We don't see the opportunity to grow. We don't see the opportunity. And then the secret about time is we're overwhelmed because, so you know, in the delivery of a child into this world, like there's times when you feel like pushing, you can't. No, the doctor's like, no, you can't push. You have to wait. Cords wrapped around the neck, or I don't know what all the different things, but there's things that no, you can't. But you feel like, and there's other times you feel you can't. You're so exhausted, you can't. And it's like you have to push. I mean, I remember it. You have to push, honey. You have to push. The nurses are saying to my wife, you have to push. And I remember, you know, I can't. I'm so tired. And it's like, so, so it's discipline, like in the book Good to Great, discipline people, discipline thinkers, discipline about in taking action. And so, life vision, like when you get overwhelmed, I can't even tell you how many times it's like, this is too big. This is too big of a life burden. I I can't handle this. I cannot handle this. I'm overwhelmed. And it's like there's a voice inside of me says, Mark, what do you think? You think it was going to be easy? You think this was going to be an easy life? You think this was going to be, you think like, forgive, I don't know. Do I use language or don't? There's a new video out. Maybe it ought to go here. And so, your life vision, it's like it'll help you carry you through. I don't know if you've read Pilgrim's Progress. I read it when I was a kid, and it's the coolest thing because it's like you have adversity in life. How do you respond to the adversity? And so your life vision, it's like your compass. It's like, what has God created me to be? That's what I've created. Well, I don't like it. Like Alan Stein, he said, bless his heart, like I'll never, he says, you've discovered your life vision. When you hate it, you run from it, you can't escape it. Like that is so true. Like as soon as he said, I'm like, I resonate with that. Like Jim Bontrager goes ahead and says, God, this is why you have no friends. Like, really? Like, come on. I mean, think about Joseph in the Bible. It's like he's a young man. He wants sex. He just does. Then he's got this attractive, hot looking, woman, and she's hitting on him. And what does he do? He says no. Then she continues to pursue him, grabs his coat. He runs away. Like he's doing the right thing. This is not hard. Women, they do not understand this. I can accept that men can't understand childbirth. I can accept that. Women would be good to accept they can't understand it. They can't understand that drive within a man that has to be done. So he does the right thing and he gets thrown in prison. Like, really? Like, are you kidding? And then he has these visions. He's like, he's going to do these things and he's in prison. Like, he gets thrown into a pit. Like, it's like, I think that's subconsciously why people don't want to discover their life vision because they don't want to have a life of significance. I mean, they want to feel that they have a life of significance. They don't want to be significant because to be something, you have to do something. You just have to. Like you were created amazingly, but you might not be amazing. Just being honest, you might not be amazing. Not because you weren't, not because you aren't amazing, not because you weren't created to be amazing. You were created to be amazing, but to be amazing, you have to do amazing things, and people just don't want to do it because it's hard. It's hard. There's another, there's another video, brand new video. Saw it for the first time this morning, and it's on the white male over 50. Really cool video. And then the boss helps you in the business. It helps you to keep organized and understand why is it working? Why is it not working? And then, connecting the dots. Look at this. How many years ago was this? And this simple to complex to simple principle. What a cool concept. I mean, I could go and this was just so cool to discover this natural law. I did it actually with a guy in India that was doing computer programming, and I learned this principle. Like he explained something to me. I'm like, that's really cool. I never thought of that. And then the DNA for people, and then the DNA for business. These are the parts, and DNA for life. Those are all parts of the. It's understanding. Like it's understanding. Like we went to Denver last week, and they de-iced the plane's wings. Like you're kind of wondering, wait a minute, we're flying 30,000 feet and there's ice on the wing. Like, so they de-iced it on the ground. And when we came from Denver to Chicago, and when we landed, there's still this green cream that's on the wings, some of it. And I'm thinking, we're traveling 400 miles an hour and they're still on it. And it's kind of like a goo. And I thought, I mean, it was like felt like I was in heaven. The sun was coming through. Rosanna was next to me. I mean, it was maybe the best flight I've ever. I don't know. It was just cool. And I remember thinking, who went ahead and created? Who invented that green goo? Like, like who? What's the story behind it? And then my mind started racing, and then I started thinking, like, like I'm a child. There's a fantasy game that Life Masteries is working on with Marissa Little. It's really neat. And then I started thinking, like, I wonder what heaven's going to be like. Like, I wonder, like the Baptists are taught that you sit at Jesus' feet for eternity. Like that, sitting at somebody's feet, like, man, that doesn't sound very exciting. I just saying. So I think there's going to be worlds and other things. Like I think, and then Joe Reed, I said, after my dad died, I said, I wonder what he's doing. And he said, what he was designed to do. And then I thought about Jonathan and I thought, is he doing what he was designed to do? I mean, I don't know these answers, but so I went the whole emotion. Wow. And then it gets into, the golden triangle and, it's like all of these crazy things. Like overwhelm is hard. It just is. It just and so, but how we respond to it is going to be key. Like it's really, really. I think that's my grandson. I think that's Daniel. I could be wrong. That's my daughter, and I think that's our oldest grandson, who's now 12. So there's all this stuff now. For me, I have a system where when I get overwhelmed, it's like, and I feel it's getting into the negative overwhelm. I go ahead and I flip into my $40 million people. And what I do is I just throw up like the flu. You just go ahead and, you want to throw up because you have the flu. So you feel better after you throw up. When I get overwhelmed, and so the last time I was like this was 8/1. What is that? August 1st or whatever, July or August, whatever 8 is. It's
August.
August 1st, 2020. That's the last time I was. And June 17th is when Jonathan died, 2020. So we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary here. So what I do is I just throw up and everything I've got on my mind and heart and soul, and then I just organize it. I'm like, if you have 100 things, if you have 100 things, well, that's overwhelming. And what do you do with it? Well, you throw it all up into a spreadsheet. Spreadsheets is the answer for everything. You throw it all up into a spreadsheet, and then you just organize it, and you realize it's not that big a deal. I think a lot of times people get overwhelmed because they love drama, they love conflict. I'm becoming more and more convinced of that. Like more, I'm telling more people in my life, you know, you like conflict. I do not. Well, if you do this, you're going to get conflict. You know that. That's happened for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. You know this is what's going to happen. If you know that's what's going to happen, then you do like conflict. You're not ignorant anymore because you do this, there's going to be conflict. There just will. So, all right, thoughts, questions on I'm overwhelmed.
Would it pertain to not being, would that have something to do with not being organized also, or is
Oh, for
that
sure.
something else?
Yeah, no, for sure. If you're not organized, moms learn that quick with kids. And the more kids you have, more organized. So yeah, organization. I mean, clean windows, um, soothing music, a clean house, like all of those types of things, like they all add up. And so, you know, bad overwhelmed is based on how we respond to life situation, and organization may be one of the most important things to go ahead and not be overwhelmed. You connect that back into personalities, and oh my goodness, it's good stuff. Yeah, no, perfect. Yep. Other questions or thoughts on overwhelm?
When you write things down, do you feel that that helps you to understand what's going on your inside, or does that make you more overwhelmed?
No, it helps me totally. And when I journal, when I journal and I create models, it's like therapy for me. It's like, because see, what's the difference between a puzzle and a mystery? I'm reading Malcolm Gladwell's book, What the Dog Saw. And he says, what's the difference between a puzzle and a mystery? A puzzle, he says, is solvable, often through youth and energy. And, so young people, they have a lot of energy. I love being around young people. I have a lot of young men and women around me, and it's cool to have that. I mean, they got a lot of energy. It's like Katya, our daughter's dog is really old. And it's so interesting. Arthritis, German Shepherd arthritis. I mean, it's like, when is this poor thing going to die? And it's like, it's really old. But when there's a puppy around, all of a sudden, all of it gets playful and is running around, is being crazy. I relate to that. Not that I'm old. I'm not saying that. But yeah, no, you go ahead and you write it down because you're working on it. You enjoy the journey. Like when my mom, like one of my goals was to go ahead and have my company up and running without me by the time I turned 30. It took me an extra 25 years. It didn't happen until 55. My mom, like we had a birthday celebration at the office, and, me turning 30, and my mom said, I'm concerned about you. I'm like, why are you concerned about me, Mom? And she said, because I don't think you're going to hit the goal mark. It was a few months before. I'm like, and I laughed. I said, Mom, when you have really high goals, it's not about hitting the goal, it's about the journey. You have to learn how to enjoy the journey. So I'm 29 years old and I understand that. Why? Because I don't know. Life vision, touch every single person in the world, one person at a time, make a huge difference in every aspect of their life in a really fun and exciting way. And that was a gift or a curse, depending how you look at it, given to me, when I was, 8 years old. And it's like, and so, yeah, you write it down, you model it, you work at it. There's a new project on Addicted to Lazy that I think connects back into it. I think when people are lazy, they're going to go ahead and have the negative overwhelm is going to overwhelm them. They're going to go ahead. It's going to turn into something that's not good. Frustration and then depression. There's a new Life GPS mobile app topic on feelings and sadness. I don't think sadness is bad. I don't think it's bad. I think sadness is a good thing. I think tears are a good thing. It's okay. It's okay to be sad. But if we don't respond to our feelings, it will degenerate into depression and anger and a whole bunch of other things. And it's not good. It's not healthy. And there's a hopelessness that people have, which is, but if you're working, it's not like we're not responsible for the results. We're responsible for the effort. Other questions or thoughts? Cheryl, what are you thinking?
I'm just thinking that, I mean, it makes a lot of sense with if you're more organized, that you wouldn't be so overwhelmed because you have steps to take. You have, I don't know, maybe more of a routine and then in my mind, if you have that routine and you have that, then you can implement more things. It's not so overwhelming. It's not so overwhelming when you have to add something to your day or your week or whatever.
Right. When you want to get something done, give it to the busiest people. Why? Because they're the most disciplined people, disciplined thinker. What hit my brain right now, which is really interesting, I was in 5th grade. Like, it's just amazing to me how people don't remember things from their childhood. I'm just like, I feel sad for them because in 5th grade, like there was this book club, you could buy books and I had to buy them. I had to pay for them with my own money, which I look back and I bought the book, Follow My Leader, which was a book about a boy. There was a firecracker incident where he got blind and then he got a dog and the depression he went through and he couldn't see. And in 5th grade, I had empathy for him. I had empathy. I'm like, here's a boy, probably my age, and he went blind. That would be really horrible. But the title is Follow My Leader. And I remember, like, when he became blind, he became organized, super organized. It's one of the biggest things I picked from the book. It's like, put everything in, and it saved me so much frustration. There's a lot of people, they lose their keys. Why? 2 things: lack of organization and discipline. This is why you lose your keys. You just do. Like, if you put your keys always in the same place, if you go ahead, you come in the house and you put them, hang them in a certain thing, it's discipline and organization, which, when you look at it, that's the next one: intentionality and discipline. And then the next one is one of my favorite white papers, Why I Choose Not to Succeed. And then follow through, and then quantum thinking. And then we get into, this here that is not even ready yet. Like, we're going to have to write these books. Or write these white papers. This is going to be fun here. Like, you guys can be authors. Like, this is going to be neat. So all of this stuff interconnects. And so, why don't we invite other people to participate? And when we do invite other people, even though we go ahead and do all these things, especially moms, like they have a lot of leverage, Man, they have a lot of leverage, but they don't use it because it's like, if you don't do this, if you don't watch this podcast, I'm not going to fix the meal for you. Moms don't. Well, I don't know. You're not having them do that. You're not having your kids go through whatever podcast for your benefit. You're having it for their benefit. So they learn how to think, which is the most important job for a parent, is to teach your kids how to think, not what to think, but how to think. There's a difference. And I didn't learn that until my youngest was 14, I think. It's like, oh my goodness. So hopefully this has been helpful to everyone. If you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300, outside the U.S. 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.